Hello and welcome to yet another edition of Let's Talk on DNT Work. My name is Oluja Kemosaku and the program is Let's Talk. Yes, it's Let's Talk. And today we will be discussing the topic alternative investments, private equity, hedge funds, and commodities. That's our topic today. You remember I said we're doing some investment talks so that we can help one another, find alternative means of making money instead of living from paycheck to paycheck or just going one-way traffic. So today again we have someone very special to the house, Mr. Golaon Bilu. He is a chartered stockbroker. So he will be discussing this topic with us this day. But before we go into it, please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on all of our social media platforms.
JK Royal Signatures, a blend of African fabric.
Thank you so much, sir, for coming on the show. It's indeed a privilege to have you here.
Oh, thank you very much for having me.
All right, sir. So now the topic is alternative investments. I know we're going to be talking about private equity, hedge funds, and commodities, but how would you explain alternative investments? When we talk about alternative, what would you say it should be or it is?
Okay. Thank you very much for having me on your program. It's really an interesting session to educate and talk to our listeners on the other side of the screen about investment generally. Investments have been known for ages to help individuals and institutions to grow their wealth over time. Relatively, most households and institutions are particularly been interested in the traditional investment asset classes. When I say traditional, I mean the regular equities and bonds. That's the fixed income and the shares of quoted or listed companies, in the stock exchange, But when we now say alternative, okay, you should say, oh, what are the other asset classes that are different from the well-known, well-known traditional asset classes, So alternative investment will range from investment in instruments such as commodities, real estate, private equity investment, and most recently, cryptocurrency. So for commodities, it could be energy commodities, energy-related commodities. It could be agricultural produce, i.e. grains, and the likes. We also have metals, precious metals, gold, silver, there are also alternative investments. And also artworks, collectibles, have also proven to be very good alternative investment for would-be investors to consider in growing their wealth in the face of global inflationary pressures there's need to find instruments that would pay off, that would net off inflationary pressures on our wealth. I think that's all I can say for now on alternative investment.
If I may ask, how is land banking different from other kind of investments? I know you've mentioned some of these things, but can we differentiate all other real estate investment, all other
Okay.
investments from land banking?
In land banking, why land banking is different? In real estate business, you have several parts of real estate that is, you have a lot in real estate, diversity of business. You have land banking, you have short let, you have estate selling of properties, a finished building and you want to sell it, you want to sell apartment. Those ones are cash flow business. They are not investment.
Mm.
You can invest in building a property, you are still under cash flow business, because when you invest your money in properties that was supposed to be built, let's assume you want to do five buildings now, like 5-story building, you have money and you are ready to invest your money in it. Yes, it's good, you are investing, but what you are investing is cash flow business. But in land banking, is you are investing in land, you are buying it and keeping it for the purpose of reselling.
Mm.
And in the process of doing that, you have to learn one thing in land banking. That is, you need to know the right time to sell, the right time to dispose your land, and at what time or when do you think it is the location you want to buy, do you think it has value? You need to consider location in land banking and when to sell, because land banking does not have when to buy. You must always buy and wait for the future. But
Mm.
when it comes to buying a location or buying a property for you to live in, it's a cash flow business, because you are the buyer. When you buy the property, 5% goes to the agency fee. The money goes to the property owner. From the property owner also settle those people who have invested money in building that building. So it's a cash flow business. But when it comes to land banking, it's not a cash flow business. It's the easiest and is the most profitable you can ever venture into, because it's an investment. Is the biggest part of real estate that a lot of people don't know about. In land banking, when you invest in land banking, you might be like, oh, other cash flow business is better than land banking. But the truth is that over the years, I've come to realize that when you spend money in investing in land banking, a land you buy today, you have less stress in land banking, but other cash flow business, you have stress in it. And what are the stress in other cash flow business in real estate? You need to hire an agent to look for somebody to rent the building. You need to paint the house. In fact, to be sincere with you, land banking is more profitable than building a house for short let, or even building a house for you living personally. Because in land banking, after purchase of land and your due diligence before buying, you have more time, you work less, and you spend less in land banking. Because the work you will do in land banking is your due diligence before buying. Once you buy from the right estate owners or the right property owner and your documentation are in good process and they are all okay, you have no much work to do because you have perfected your document. The next thing that is this, you need to invest a little bit in two ways. It's either you now have to add value to that land, or natural value comes to that land. What are the natural value? When you buy a land, for example, in a before, as we know it, Ibejuleki is not as open as today. Those who invested money in buying land and getting massive land in Ibejuleki, now the natural value comes with the road of the government providing road in it. The government now provide road, accessible road, airport, and the rest of them. So it becomes more expensive. But if you want to add value personally, you have to build the fence around it, do the interlogging inside the estate, or you now have to do other works that is needed on that land, signboard, front gate, and the rest of them. For example, if you look back not too far away, Shimawa as at 2000 2009, 2010, 2008, Shimawa, if you buy a plot in Shimawa, you have to spend like 500,000 to get a plot. Now I can assure you can't get a land for 20 million again in Shimawa. Why? When government started building the road that leads to Shimawa, Shimawa jumped from 3 million to 8 million. I'm a living example witness to that. From 3 million to 8 million. Why? Because there is now government providing access road, infrastructure that people will enjoy. So the value of that place jump up instantly. So these are the things you look in land banking. You didn't do any work. You didn't have to work, but you have bought the place, you have secured your document, and you have secured the land. So you sleep, even while you are sleeping, your money is growing in investment and the value is appreciating. One of the biggest things you need to know about land banking is that land does not depreciate. It is 100% impossible for any land to depreciate in value. But some locations appreciate faster, while some locations don't appreciate faster. So in land banking, for you to do the business, you need to actually look at the location very well before venturing in land banking.
Back to Nigeria. I want you to talk to the world, actually.
Okay, generally, okay.
Beyond Nigeria,
Well,
the world at large.
At what at large, I must say this, that God created us for a purpose, and everyone has the power. Every person that God created has a power. And I must say this, that everyone was under this power at large, that no matter how so terrible, whosoever that was there today, there'll always be a second chance. And the second chance is when we are privileged, to have our vote to cast or to go out to vote. We must try to understand that we need to look deeply to know who's going to be our next president, our next governors, those people that are going to put in power, or those that are going to be our prime ministers, so to say, or those going to be leaders in every nation, every country throughout the world. We must understand that we are the ones that owns that country. Everybody is important to his country. And to understand that we have our power and we stay together to make sure that this country works out by ensuring that we vote the right thing, we vote the right person that we feel will put our nation to the next level, to move our nations to where we want it to be. Then we'll see to working out for ourselves. So just for us to understand that everybody is important and we need to cast our vote by voting the right person that we feel that our spirit tells us that is the right person for us to lead us and put us to where God has a plan for us. And that I believe that with that, things will work out.
Thank you very much for that. It was nice discussing with you. Thank you once again for coming on the show.
I appreciate that. I appreciate it so much. It's an honor to have you tonight.
All right, thank you. And to you out there, thank you too for being part of the show. I hope you've been able to learn one or two things. And also it's very important that we discuss these topics to be able to know, how to navigate around things. Justice, fairness, and equity in a democratic society is quite important. And it is most important when our leaders take cognizance of, the people's issues, the people's concerns. Well, until next time when I come your way again, please be safe and be happy. Bye for now.